Good morning. Here we go. So, what do y'all think about all this stuff that Mercari's been doing lately? Okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to give you my opinion, but let me get you caught up. So, a few weeks ago, Mercari made a big announcement and they made some huge changes. And it was two things, okay? So, they decided that they were no longer going to charge, they were no longer going to charge sellers selling fees. What they did was pass that along to the buyer. Okay? So there was that. And then, at first, they had a return for any reason. Well, as of yesterday, the announcement came out and it takes effect May 22nd. They're going back to their old policy. So you have to meet certain criteria, like the item's not as described or broke or something like that, in order for a buyer to return a Mercari item. And I can tell you, this change in the return policy, there's a lot of people in the seller community that are very happy about this, myself included, even though I have not had any returns. There was like Rockstar Flipper was comparing it to renting something for the weekend, like renting a dress or purse or shoes or something for the weekend and then returning them, and no questions asked. Now, I gotta say, I do not know what Mercari's numbers are, okay? I don't know. I don't work there. I haven't really looked it up if it's even available. But I do know my numbers, and I can tell you that of the 3 places that I sell stuff, Mercari is my least profitable, okay? That said, and it's been that way since I started selling on the platform, okay? And I do basically the same best practices for all 3 platforms, okay? And I know I'm not the only person that has the same experience. A lot of people feel like Mercari is just, gravy money, that kind of thing. Like they'll post, some people don't even bother with it because they feel it's a waste of time, but a lot of people who do post, they feel like if it sells there, it sells there. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay. And I kind of feel that way too, to be honest with you. It's just like, I feel like, it's one of those things where if somebody buys it, yay. If they don't, that's okay. But here's what I think is wrong, okay? Mercari may have been losing buyers. I don't know that. But I'm pretty sure they've been losing sellers because it's just a waste of time for a lot of people. Now, for me, it's only a matter of seconds because of the processes that I have put into place, so it's not a big deal. And I'm not a huge seller either. But there are some disadvantages to Mercari that are not present on eBay and Poshmark. I'm just going to say those 2 because those are the 2 that I use the most regularly. And I'll give you 2 examples, okay? The first example is on Mercari, you cannot list multiples. You have to list one thing at a time. So if you have new items, like let's just say you got a whole lot of a particular item, all the same size, all the same color, there's nothing different about them, but you've got more than one. You have to list it one thing at a time on Mercari. You can't list multiples and have a running listing like you can on Poshmark or eBay. So that's one disadvantage. The other disadvantage to Mercari is the way that the offers work. So I don't know how it is for the buyer, but for the seller, if something comes up, and this happens a lot with fresh items, okay? So you list something, it's a really good item, and in my case, there's a lot of times when I'll send an offer out because I'm kind of aggressive with it, to be honest with you. I'm a little aggressive with it. As soon as I see something, I send an offer out. Well, then I get a notification, say, a day later, and 2 more people like it, but I can't send the offer because you can only send offers every 3 days. Well, okay, the reality of it is I'm not going to keep track of something like that. Okay, yeah. So they're losing the sales because they have that restriction on their offers. And I think it's foolish, even if the buyer is able to make as many offers as possible. So let's just say I have an item for $50. They offer me, say, $45, and they don't hear anything from me. I don't know if, the next day they can offer 40 or what. I'm not really sure what it is with the buyers right now, but I know as a seller, if I offered them $45 hypothetically, I would not be able to make another offer at all to anybody for another 3 days. Okay? So meanwhile, these other people who are liking it and hearing crickets might be thinking, well, she just doesn't care about me, and move on to the next thing. So that's a huge mistake. Okay? Now, I know that prior to the announcement of taking away the seller fees, I was seeing a lot of advertisement, and this was geared towards like the hobbyist seller, just your, I'm going to say hairy homeowner, but, just people who want to get rid of stuff without having a yard sale. They were kind of trying to appeal to those people. So that's the advertisement that I saw. So that tells me that they're trying to get people to come on there and sell things. It was almost like a if you build it, they will come kind of mentality. But, I think that was a huge mistake, because it doesn't matter how many sellers you have on there. If people aren't buying, they're not buying, okay? They really need to appeal to the buyer, and they need to think about the buyer's perspective. So those are the 2 things that I think they should change. And I think they made a mistake too. I kind of see the logic behind it, because they wanted to appeal to the buyers and the sellers. So making that switch as far as the fee goes, that might have been okay strategically, although I think it's going to fail. I really do think it's going to fail, because I think as we go along, buyers are going to see that they may not be making out in the long run. However, I have also noticed that the same people are looking and liking my things on Poshmark and Mercari. eBay, take notice, okay? eBay, take notice. And I know this because it's the same name in the same picture, so it's the same person. And then they might make me an offer on one platform or the other. And I think this has to do with shipping. I really do, because the offer amount might be the exact same, but we all know that basically Poshmark has flat rate shipping up to £5, and it's through priority mail, so they may get it a little quicker. But if it's something that they don't need as soon or as fast, and they can get it under the ground advantage on Mercari, like, it's a no-brainer. Look at the Mercari, okay? So I do know that people are doing price comparison with my own personal stuff. That I have noticed more frequently between my different platforms. They are looking. So yeah, I'm kind of, it's going to be a wait and see thing. I'm not pulling my stuff from Mercari. I really haven't changed anything as far as my pricing strategy. I kept it the same. I still am doing everything that I did prior to these changes. And the only thing different is that I have buckled down. I'm getting rid of my death pile. We all know how that is, right? And I am making sure that every single day I am listing items and renewing stale items, taking them down and relisting them as a new listing. So those things I'm doing. And that has shown to be, in the last month or so, about 30%. No, not 30. About 20% of my sales are coming from Mercari. About 30 are coming from Poshmark, and about 50% of my sales are still coming from eBay, because they have the biggest market. So Yeah, although I did sell a pretty good item last night on Mercari for $48, which is a little bit higher than my normal average. So, yeah, that was pretty good. And I don't know if that person did a comparison or not, but I don't think so. I think they just happened to see it. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if in the future, probably not so distant, we see those seller fees coming back. And I honestly think that Mercari really needs to rethink their strategy. I think, honestly, my opinion is that it would have been a lot simpler to open up their offer policy, and I don't think it would be in conflict with any kind of licensing or business practice or whatever with Poshmark or eBay, since they both do it, offers, and you don't have to wait. And I mean, they do have some guidelines and restrictions, but you don't have to wait 3 days. If you send an offer out and then somebody else comes along, you can still send the same offer to the next person. That just makes sense, and just let the chips fall where they may. But to sit there and kind of wait, and I do think they need to change, and this might be a little harder for them, but I think they need to change it so that you can start listing multiple items in one listing. Those are my two things that I think Mercari really ought to focus on, that will make it better for both the buyer and the seller. Just my opinion. What do you guys think? Put it down there. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you later.